Greetings, people of Texas. It would seem that there has been an announcement by the Attorney General, and it is very alarming to hear. But I want to give a first response to the matters as they've been presented. First of all, if I'm correct, this would be the fourth example of a potential indication that the alleged, or rather, performing governor of Texas, Greg Abbott, has overstepped his authority as the governor of Texas in undermining federal authority and undermining federal constitutional process in claiming for himself or under the authority of the state of Texas matters and rights that are actually appropriate for the federal government only. And these things are complicated, or rather compounded, by the implication that they also involve bonds, including implications connected to bonds for first responders up to and including law enforcement. If it is correct that what was implied by that particular announcement is an illegal swap, or rather a real time confirmation of a swap that was not authorized by allowing for the Army Futures Command to be supplanted onto the Texas Veterans Commission, as I understand from that particular video message, is what happened, then that confirms other reports that have been provided that this past earlier part of the year, prior to, but again connected to the alleged storm that ended up resulting in a massive power outage in the state of Texas, the governor of Texas was alleged to be in Dallas engaging in activities that many have been concerned were about creating Dallas as a proxy site for some sort of extra governmental activities instead of allowing for the official state of the site of the capital of Texas to be in Austin, as if there is some sort of shadow paradigm that is playing out in Dallas, including one that somebody is trying to allege is supposed to be a part of the unconstitutional legislation that was passed concerning confidentiality, and specifically confidentiality regarding terms related to bidding on contracts, but also connected to any sort of litigious or other kind of judicial process involving a political subdivision. The Attorney General is on the record for saying both of those series of alleged laws are completely unconstitutional. So far as I understand, is attempting to challenge them right now through the means she has at her disposal. But it does also indicate through what she's saying and the way she's saying it that yes, indeed, it does appear as if accounts that were assigned to reference the Texas Veterans Commission are now operating through the Army Futures Command. And then that is the concern. The Army Futures Command is under the federal jurisdiction, presumably affiliated through the United States Army with and under the command of the Department of Defense, and hence under the command of the Commander-in-Chief, whoever he or she may be at the time, which at this point in time is in some people's understanding still disputed, and in other people's understanding non-existent, or comparatively speaking, or relatively speaking, is a challenge to really identify, because there could potentially be three individuals operating as if they were empowered to be the President of the United States without having gone through a constitutional process to take the oath of office. And so, in the void of this kind of definitiveness, we have to take into account these considerations. I do not consider it to be alarm that there was that misidentification, but it does confirm and indicate to me that somebody thought that they were entitled to engage in something that they want to be associated with the kind of authority that the United States Army has, which is separate than the kind of authority that a governor's commission associated with veterans would have. And that makes this very alarming. If the federal government has authorized the state of Texas to engage in proxy scenarios, including in conjunction with requests made to and through the Texas Veterans Commission, which is under the authority of the governor of Texas, in order to run a simulation or scenarios within the city of Dallas, including in manners that have an impact on the municipal bond associated with the public library and or the insurance connected to the municipal bond associated with the library. These are very serious matters. And this would be the fourth time in less than a year and a half that the governor of Texas would be implicated in doing just that very thing. If Greg Abbott authorized for this kind of activity that's happening right now in Dallas to occur, then again, I contend this is even greater evidence he needs to be removed from office. And that brings up the very crucial matters here, which that thus far, in over a year and a half, and actually going on 5 years now, 4 years in Texas, nobody has moved on what is overwhelming evidence of grotesque abuse of political office in the state of Texas, at least, by all three branches of government. There have been no checks applied by any one branch against abuses of the other branch. And routinely, over and over again, what we see is specifically this governor, Greg Abbott, operating outside of his authority, but also other members of the Texas political establishment operating without any actual constitutional authority in what would be characterizable as arbitrary and capricious, unless, of course, it can be confirmed that they are a part of a premeditated, long-term plan to do what this is having the effect of actually doing, which is undermining the federal government in a co-conspiracy with individuals that have infiltrated the federal government in order to make what is the wealth of the people available to select private individuals. Who has that material from the library? Those microfilm were not destroyed. Where is it? If it was sent to a public repository, they need to report to which public repository it was sent to. If it was sent to the state archives, they need to let people know that it was sent to the state archives. Those legal reporters are not even the property of Texas. Those are federal judicial records. The state of Texas does not have the authority to just destroy them. Not only that, but there is also more information concerning a very significant matter related to other things that are available, including an indication that there is intentional efforts to manipulate cataloging of and or categorization of the information that is supposed to be in the genealogical library in ways that reveal very significant and serious crimes. If somebody decided to take information that they've characterized as genealogical information and render specific periods of time associated with people that would have then been called to active duty during those periods of time in a manner that takes them out of the public realm, the question has to be asked, why? Where is that information? This is a very concerning question because that is my understanding of what the actual alarm is here. See, if you say you want to participate in a process whereby you're engaging a simulation that has not been officially disclosed, by the way, and has not been identified with a chain of command, by the way, and has not actually been grounded in the actual authority of any constitutional process or even a declaration of an intent to engage a specific process because of some either violation of constitutional authority or because of some other human or other grave rights abuse, then you run a very, very significant risk of, again, escalating this beyond your capacity to sustain. Because without any actual acknowledgement of who authorized what just happened, it makes it look as if something that presumably the people of Dallas are responsible for paying for is being operated by people intentionally engaging in acts of sabotage, dispossessing people of our own wealth, and cooperating with some paradigm that is using genealogical information in some sort of resequencing process that makes us incredibly vulnerable based upon gaps in our national security protections that would actually correlate with the means by which we could protect ourselves from a foreign incursion. Just let me tell you, if I was a commander of an army or a armed forces and I had to invade a country or I had to invade an entity, a territory, and I had to seize the state and I had to seize major resources associated with the state, which could include the gas and oil sectors, which could include the standing army or at least decommissioning of the standing army. It could include a analysis of or investigation of the judicial system, including a pending potential prosecution for crimes. I would also need the financial records, wouldn't I? Yes, I would. But I would not, under any circumstances, allow for anybody to go in there, open up genealogical records, and start resequencing the genealogical paradigms of the people I was encountering. See, in some ways, what you left is even graver evidence than what you stole. And that is what makes this unacceptable, even as a simulation. Even if it was authorized by national security of whatever nation you're actually taking orders from. Because unless you identify who authorized that, then my understanding is that it is an abuse of power being orchestrated by the municipal authorities here in Dallas without any constitutional authority. And if they want to try to say the governor gave him some insurance, then they are going to be held accountable for defrauding their own bond and defrauding the insurance on that bond, in addition to whatever they co-conspired with the governor on. These are very important matters. They need to be addressed expeditiously. But again, I support that. If you are a member of the Texas Veterans Commission, it is far past time you actually let people know under what authority you're operating. You don't get to say that you get to claim the benefits of being granted a status as a veteran and also get to operate outside of any rule of law or any actual constitutional authority. You don't get to abuse your past history as being a part of the United States military so that you can co-conspire with a corrupt governor and a corrupt state apparatus that has not only national but international implications.